Coach, thank you, and the players for joining us. We'll have Coach Corn give us an opening statement, then we'll throw it open for the student athletes who are here, and then we'll have Coach Corn for a few follow-up. Coach, your thoughts on the game?
Well, number one, you got to give a lot of credit to Tarleton. They played an excellent basketball game. I've known Lon Reisman for a long time. I have a lot of respect for him as a coach and his program, and we knew that it was going to be a tough physical game coming in. We knew that Tarleton State would play with good toughness and would execute, and that's exactly what they did. I thought the first half went along okay for us. The second half, it started getting away. We had way too many turnovers at the beginning of the second half, which allowed them to jump into a 7-8 point lead, and from that point on, it just kind of stretched out. Foul trouble hurt us in the second half as well. So there were some different things out there, but the number one reason that we had problems was Tarleton State was a very good basketball team.
Thank you, Coach. And now, if you'll wait, our microphone lady will hand you the mic, and we'll have questions for the student athletes first.
Both Jason and Keen, could you talk a little bit about Tarleton's defense and maybe what's different about it and what makes it so good?
They had a lot of physical guys out there running around making plays. And tonight they were a better team, and it kind of sucks to end the way we ended, looking like kind of the way we played, but they were just a better team tonight.
I feel like the main thing we struggled with was Tarleton just had active hands. They did a really good job of getting their hands up and swiping at the ball, and caused way too many turnovers on our part. I feel like that was a big deal for us.
Follow-up questions.
You guys started out, I think you made 10 of your first 20 shots, but then the shooting kind of dropped off. Were the looks at the basket not as good, or?
I think we were getting the ball where we wanted to, and we were executing our plays. It's just like Keen said, they were real active tonight and had their hands all over the passing lanes, and it made it hard to get the ball where we wanted to. Instead of getting it inside, we were settling for a lot of outside shots, and guys just swinging the ball around, not really knowing what to do with it. So they were pretty active, and it's just hard. It was tough.
Keen, talk about going up against Tarleton's inside guys, because, try to fix that. They might not have had quite the size you had, but just sort of what made them so tough to go up against?
Yeah, they were very good big men. They have good moves down in the post, and they know how to use their body and get what they want. Yeah, it was just the whole team worked together, I thought, very well to be able to get the ball where they wanted to go, and on defense too, to help them out and just get down there and make us get a little bit. Even if we didn't quite get a bad shot, they were always there just to affect us in the shot a little bit. Even if they didn't block it, they would alter it just a little bit.
Seemed like they were having more success attacking the basket in the second half. Was that something that y'all, when you saw that, did y'all try to do anything differently, or were they just able to kind of, find some holes, and it seemed like they had a lot of points in the paint in the second half?
Yeah, I think they did a good job of seeing each other. Just their offense was working very smoothly. They were hitting cutters, going to the basket, and just always knew where each other were. And we struggled to find open guys sometimes, and I think that was a big difference.
Coach Corn, your last three results were losses this season, but do you feel like this team is better than those results say?
Well, obviously, you hate to lose end your season on 3 losses, and the first 2 losses were very close. Could very easily go the other way. This one here, I think anytime you get beat by 17, you guys say the better team won the basketball game. But obviously we had goals at the beginning of the year that we wanted to accomplish, and we weren't able to accomplish some of those. But at the end of the day, we're 22-8 is what we ended up. And there's a lot of teams across the country that love to be 22-8. We've been to the NCAA regional the last 2 years. There's a lot of teams that would love to have an opportunity to say that. So, even though we didn't accomplish as many goals as what we would like to have done at the beginning of the year, this team can still hold their head up high because they've accomplished a lot.
Do we have a final question for the two players before we let them go back to their teammates? Well, guys, we're going to dismiss you and keep Coach for just a few more minutes, and congratulations on a good season. Questions for Coach Corn?
Y'all, it seemed like the way they ended that first half, that three-point play right before half, and then they start the second half coming out, and I think 9-2 run. Did the fact y'all are down after playing such a good first half, did that carry over in the second half, or did they just execute better to start off?
Well, I think they got momentum going. There's no doubt about it. They started making shots, and then we weren't able to make shots. Anytime a team is really doing a good job offensively, you've got to come up with some defensive stops, and we weren't able to do that. You mentioned earlier about them getting in the lane. We didn't do a very good job of keeping the ball in front of us. And then whenever we came over and helped with our big guys, we didn't do a good job dropping back, protecting the backside. And they got probably 3 or 4 baskets off of just we didn't do a good job with our rotation defensively, and they got easy baskets. And we didn't get Keene enough touches during a stretch there. And then whenever he did get the ball, he was being swarmed pretty good. So, normally when that happens, we have some guys who feed off that, and we weren't able to feed off of it tonight in the second half.
We mentioned a few times your players mentioned a few times how active their hands were. Was that frustrating and your players, and was that why you kind of settled for a few more outside jump shots in the second half?
Well, it could be, yeah, because they did a nice job putting pressure on us, and they did a nice job keeping us in front of them. And they did, we had reaching fouls a lot of times because we got our hands in there when they were driving to the basket. They did a nice job of getting their hands out away from their body and keeping their body in front of us. Their defensive technique was very good, and that is very frustrating. Anytime you're trying to get inside the defense and you're not able to do so. And then we had probably 3 or 4 passes that were deflected because they did have very active hands. So their hands were a big reason why their defense was so good, and it did create some problems for us.
Would you say this defense is a little unlike anything you've seen in the MIAA, or what would you compare it to?
Well, I think their defense was really good. I think it's one of the better defenses we've seen all year. I think we've got some teams in our league that play very good defense as well. I think, the top teams, the Lone Star and the top teams in the MIAA could compete very well in each other's league. And, I think from an athletic standpoint, we've got some teams in our league that's just as athletic. You mentioned we had a size advantage a while ago with Keene, but their guys are maybe a little bit short, but they're thick, and they're strong and they're athletic, and they play bigger than what they actually are, and that's the big difference in a lot of players. You can have a 6'8" body, but you might play 6'2", or you might have a 6'4" body that plays 6'8", and they've got some bodies to where they play bigger than what they actually are.
We have time for one final question for Coach. If we have another,
Coach, you're losing 2 of the top players in the program's history. Could you just kind of summarize their career?
Well, these 2 guys have had tremendous careers here. Jason was freshman of the year whenever he came in the league, and people kind of knew about him, and then he's developed into a 2-time first-team all-conference player for us. Keene got to play some as a freshman, but his development has been second to none of anybody in the program, how much he's grown as a basketball player in the 4 years he's been with us. And you don't replace players like Jason and Keene. It's going to take a lot of team work to make up for what we're losing with these 2 guys here. They've certainly set standards for what our program needs to reach for, and they've set the standards pretty high.
Coach, congrats on a great season. We appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.